And welcome back, everybody, to part 2 of Rogue Actions, guys. If you are brand new here and you have no idea what's going on, you guys missed part 1. Make sure you guys get over and check out part 1, guys, over on Rambam's channel. You can find the link down below, everybody. We had an epic conversation about some faction additions as well as new raid changes. We're going to continue that conversation here, guys, regarding the raid in part 2 of Rogue Actions. So, in part 1, we talked, Ram, a lot about kind of more the mechanics side of things and what the mechanics of the next raid should look like, things that we'd like to see, things that we didn't like from previous raids, etc. Today we're going to talk more on this side of the channel, a little bit more about the themes that we'd like to see, kind of maybe characters that we'd like to see, settings, things like that. So, with that being said, Ram, I'm going to kind of address the elephant in the room, if you will, here. And we're going to kind of take a look over in the game, guys. First of all, obviously the big thing that's coming down the pipe right now, guys, is Galactic Legend Ahsoka, okay? So that's a big thing. The other big thing, obviously, currently right now is Baylan. And Baylan will be coming out probably within the next couple of weeks here as we make this video. With that being said, Ram, it makes a lot of sense, I think, that the next raid would be based off of Peridea. Do you agree with me, or do you think I'm being a little bit ridiculous, sir?
It could be off of Peridea. The other idea, it's definitely 100% going to be around Baylan and Ahsoka. Somewhere it's going to involve them somehow.
Yeah.
It could be Peridea, but the other idea that I had was that it could involve that forest or whatever that
oh,
the battle scene between Ahsoka and Baylan when they first fought, and you had Merrick and Shin in the woods and whatnot. Something involving that planet or that area.
That's gonna drive me nuts that I can't think of what it was. I know what you mean. Yeah. So so some of the speculation I have heard is that it would be Peridea and it would be, Thrawn and all of them trying to, get away on the ship away from Ahsoka and them. I had not thought.
Makes sense.
We're gonna get to that. I had not thought about the idea of it almost being like a 2-part raid, if you will, and the first part being on the planet where, Ahsoka is trying to prevent Baylan and them from getting away and, attaining that, the MacGuffin, whatever the MacGuffin was called. I forget what it's called now off the top of my head. But I actually really like that idea a lot better. I was thinking more about Peridea and the ship and less so on the forest and that setting. I like that setting a lot more, actually, now that I think about it. So if that's our setting, Ram, my question is, do you think we're going to be fighting exclusively as Ahsoka and the Spectre faction? Or do you think it's going to include Baylan from a user standpoint as well? I'm assuming we're going to face Baylan and the Great Mothers and all of them. Or maybe it's just going to be a never-ending wave of Night Troopers too, possibly. I don't know.
God.
But who do you imagine us using? Let's say that first. Who do you imagine us using in this raid?
I would imagine using Baylan as well as Shin and obviously a Spectre faction, and maybe a select number of mercenaries, depending on obviously Merrick and Shin and all those guys. As far as who you'll face, unfortunately, knowing CG, Night Troopers makes more sense. But
I have an idea on that one. Go ahead, keep going.
But ideally, what I would like is, or what I'm thinking is that you can use your characters, and ultimately, yes, it may be Baylan versus Baylan, right? Because you'll have that opportunity. But what if it was like a 2 or 3-part type battle, right? And again, we said we don't like the phases in my video. We said we don't like the phases and the never-ending waves.
Yeah.
But
I don't like the
But when
waves.
it's
I don't
like a
mind phases, but CG has said they're not doing phases. That's the problem.
But they don't have to do phase like Sith Raid.
Right.
They can do a phase like, okay, wave 1, you do, you fight Shin and Merrick in the woods. Wave 2, and you can use whoever, right? It doesn't have to be thematic. Wave 2, you fight Balin on the star map, and your whole thing is trying to prevent Balin from whatever. Ultimately, he's gonna, that data is gonna transmit and whatever. And then wave 3, you're teleported over to Peridia, and you fight, night troopers, whoever, great mothers, whatever, right? That's I really like that setting that they had the whole star map type thing, and right before she went into the water. I really like that setting, so I wish that they would find a way to incorporate that. I don't know if they will, probably not, because that'd be too hard. But
so my idea, so instead of night troopers, because remember the night trooper stuff happened in Peridia on the ship and everything like that. The only thing I could see happening maybe outside of the night troopers is just some of the mercenaries that were there, some of the other generic mercenaries. So if you remember, Shin and Ahsoka had a little ship battle there, but there were also additional mercenary ships there as well. So maybe, for your fleet portion of the event, you're taking on those characters specifically. During the forest battle, you're taking on just those mercenaries themselves. The dilemma with that is, again, that's just endless waves again. There's not really any big bad that you're taking on. I personally love your idea of your big bad moment being that you face Balin. In Balin alone, essentially. Maybe before that you're facing Shin and Merrick at that point. Like, I really want to see more of that design. I think that's what we want to see. The dilemma is that it makes no sense for us to have Balin and Shin and Merrick and everything in that raid to face it, themselves. Like, that part of it just doesn't make a lot of sense, unfortunately. And there's no way they're going to limit this just to the Spectre faction. That's way too small of a faction. Like, literally outside of the whales and stuff, no one will be able to do it. So I think...
but at the same sense, though, it didn't make sense to have Moff Gideon and Imperial troopers shooting down speeder bikes of scout troopers. True.
That is a good point. So
that's what I'm saying. It would make sense for them to just incorporate it. And then if you end up having a battle of Balin versus Balin, so be it. Balin versus Balin. It'll look cool.
I wouldn't be. I mean, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be mad about it. But there's no doubt you're going to have some character-on-character action, just because it's going to be too exclusive if you don't open it up to beyond just Spectre. And in fact, I wouldn't even be shocked if it's Spectre and Phoenix that are allowed to be used, because assuming like Hera, Chopper, for instance, don't get a Spectre tag, they're there. Like, they're present in the show and everything else. Like, they should be allowed to be present in the raid as well, I would think. So that's one option, but even then, that's still just Phoenix, Spectre. That's not a lot of options. Here's my question, Ram. So you kind of lit the idea in my head, though, of having a 2-part raid. Okay, do you envision that this raid, instead of it being multiple waves, that maybe it is wave 1 you face Shin and Merrick. Wave 2, you face Balin. Wave 3, you then face Night Trooper and Death Trooper Peridia. And then Wave 4 is kind of that final battle where you're facing off against maybe Morgan, Elsbeth, for instance. The whole idea of you're trying to prevent Thrawn and them from getting away. Or do you see them pulling a bit of a wild card here and saying the next 14 to 18 months is going to be part 1 raid Ahsoka stuff on the planet, and then part 2 raid comes out in like July, and that is actually on Peridia and features the dark side teams trying to defeat the light side teams. Am I out of my mind on that? I actually think that would be kind of cool to have one part of it now and then another part in like July. I don't know. What do you think?
So cool. Absolutely. Reasonable. Of course. Ridiculous because we know CG won't do it. Absolutely. It's ridiculous. They won't do it because that just makes too much sense and it'd be cool as hell. I know. I really like that idea, actually. Yeah. Doing a light side trying to prevent Thrawn from escaping, and then you're fighting from the perspective of the dark side trying to stop them from stopping you from escaping.
How cool would that be?
It would just be awesome. But I think that's too much work on their part.
See, I disagree. Go ahead, keep going. I'll explain why in a second.
I think it's too much work on their part in the sense of how much. All right, let's just be blunt here. CG is not real well known, or Swigo in general, not necessarily just CG, but Swigo in general is not real well known for not having a whole bunch of bugs, right?
Well, yeah.
How much bugs are you gonna have? You already have to figure out how to manage one raid. How many more bugs are you gonna have trying to manage 2 raids? And as cool as it would be, I think people would get really exhausted of having 2 raids.
That's the big problem, yeah. So the reason I don't think it would be an issue from a workload standpoint is because literally it's the same raid, you just switch the characters. That's it. So
you'd have to switch the mechanics though.
Well, yeah, the mechanics for the characters would have to switch as well.
Which is a whole new raid from a developer perspective.
Yeah, but you'd have to do that if it was a completely different scenario and location as well, too, though. Like, the whole idea is just that the map and the setting and all of that stuff literally stays the same. So phase 1, like we said before, is the forest battle, maybe at Ahsoka's ship. The second setting is Balin at the sphere thing. And then the third battle is them approaching the ship and trying to catch the ship. It's the same setting and the same scene and everything from both raids. It's just that the characters you're playing as and the enemies you're facing are different. Like, so from an actual design standpoint, there's no extra work. It's literally just the characters and the mechanics of those characters.
Sure.
Which they'd have to do anyway. So I actually think that makes a ton of sense for CG. It's super easy. It's copy and paste. But like you said, I think the downside is that's a long time with a lot of the same content. And I think we're already dealing with burnout as it is with the current raid. Like, can you imagine doing it for 14 to 18 months? Like,
nope.
Talk about needing a sim button, man. Like, wow.
Yeah.
But
doing this raid once a week at that.
So, but I will say, if they fix some of the mechanics in terms of like the time sync needed and the RNG factors and stuff like that, so that once you hit the relics and the mods that you need, then poof, it's a crystal clear, easy coast through the raid. Then I think that our tunes might change some. Even then, it could be a stretch. But I mean, realistically though, the raids, like the Sith raid, they used to take us like a year, right? It took us like a year or 9 months at minimum to be able to get that stuff maxed out.
Yeah, I want to say it was like 6 to 9 months for the top guilds to get it maxed out. Because
I think that was one of the biggest complaints when the new raid system dropped, was that they're not long enough. We're not going to get enough return on our investment, so to speak.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get the idea that yes, it could become boring and monotonous, but I think I wouldn't actually hate to see that 2 different perspectives, 2 different sides of the coin element. I think that'd be cool. And that kind of ties into our next point, guys. Before we get into our next point, guys, let us know in the comments down below, what theme would you like to see for the next raid? Obviously, I think everyone and their uncle knows that this is kind of what's coming next. If they don't do this, it's going to be a total curveball. But let us know details of what you'd like to see this raid kind of include. Obviously, we forgot the name of the planet, guys. Let us know what the name of the planet is, things like that. Let us know details, specific battles, instances, things like that you'd like to see included in the theme of our next raid. Now, next point. If RAM. So if this is a 2-part raid, like we kind of just said, And part 1 features Ahsoka and the Spectre team primarily. Part 2 obviously would feature her counterpoint, which is Thrawn. Everyone and their uncle is speculating of late, guys, that Thrawn is coming to the game because of a little slippage on verbiage that CG made the other day. If you guys don't know, they edited a comment about a kit and the questions with the Q&A and referred to Thrawn's Imperial Remnant originally. And then they edited Thrawn out of it and made it Moff Gideon's Imperial Remnant. So it's pretty much a clear given that Thrawn is going to be the next GL. With that being said, one of the big points of speculation that we've had is that Bo Mandalore might be a rec for Ahsoka, which would mean that GL has an epic confrontation character required. Would Thrawn potentially, Ram, require Baylan as an epic confrontation character requirement? Do you think A, that's possible? And then B, if that's possible and you think it's going to happen, does that totally change your priority in terms of farming?
It doesn't change my priority in terms of farming because, well, if you remember, I said I was going to go for Baylan anyways.
Right.
Because I love Ray Stevenson. I love Baylan.
Yeah.
So I was going to go for him anyways. But I would think from any normal player that may have been, on the edge of going for Ahsoka versus Baylan, that might sway them.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I know if I was on the fence, it would absolutely sway me because I love Thrawn.
Yep.
100%. Oh my God, dude. I love Thrawn.
Yeah.
And Baylan, just looking at the requirements, Baylan is fairly simple to get in terms of yes, it's Marquise.
Yeah, it's a lot of Marquise, and it's a lot of relics.
It's a lot of Marquise. And Bo Mandalore is the exact same, but I don't know the impact that Baylan's Marquise have. Bo Mandalore's Marquise were her team. Baylan's, I don't think, is going to be his team. I mean, you have Shin and Merrick, obviously.
Right, those two are, yeah.
But the Great Mothers are required for him, right? That's not going to be their team.
Same thing with Elsbeth Morgan.
But you getting those characters is going to make your Night Sisters, and same with Elsbeth. It's going to make you have a viable team in that faction too. So I feel like I'd rather, in that sense, go after Baylan and his requirements because I'll get 2 usable teams out of that and farming for potential Thrawn.
Right.
Rather than Bo-Katan Mandalore, you get her team and then you get Ahsoka, who obviously everybody loves Ahsoka. And I'm not saying don't go after Ahsoka. I absolutely will. I just think I'm probably going to prioritize Baylan first.
It makes me think that, so if that were the case, it makes me think you're going to get more return on investment if you were to prioritize Baylan and then go for Thrawn. Mostly because you're getting, assuming you have Night Sisters, you're getting a Night Sister team, you're getting a Baylan team, which is probably going to be insane in 3s in particular. And then I'm assuming Thrawn, the OG Thrawn, is going to be a requirement for Thrawn, obviously, GL Thrawn as well. So you're getting you're getting a great head start on that next GL team, as well as additional teams too. They're going to be really good. Whereas the Ahsoka Rex, so it's weird. So at the moment, we don't have a lot of her team required in it yet. I think that's going to change, but outside of that, most of her new marquee Rex in particular are probably characters that are going to go on Thrawn's team. Like, so return on investment wise, I feel like we're actually getting a lot less with Ahsoka currently, as of what we know now, versus what we probably would get with Thrawn based on that current projection, if you will. Now, I mean, obviously, Bo, if Bo is a requirement, you're getting that entire team. Yeah, that's great. But yeah, I just feel like there's a little more return on investment with Thrawn than there would be Ahsoka necessarily. But if I didn't love Ahsoka so much, it probably would shift my perspective. It almost makes me wonder if CG should say that to us. Like they used to do the 2 GL drops at a time. I almost feel like they should say that. Like they should say to us, like, Baylan will be a rec for GL Thrawn. And then I think that would put it, at the minimum, it would push more people to go for both, I think. I don't know that a lot of people would shift out of Ahsoka for Baylan, but I think it might push more people to go for both than what originally. Like, I'm not going for both. I'd be a little more inclined to try to pull off both if possible, if I knew that he was going to be a wreck for Thrawn. Because I want both. I don't screw Vader and screw Leia. I want those two. So, like, I don't know. Let us know in the comments down below, guys, what your thoughts are on that. Do you think Baylan could be a requirement for Thrawn? Do you think Bo is going to be a requirement for Ahsoka? And then, do you think that's a good precedent to set? To have an epic confrontation character be a requirement for GLs? Because Ram, correct me if I'm wrong, that has not happened yet, I don't believe. Malgus?
No, they have. Gas.
Yes, good call. Gas, yes, good call. I didn't think of that one. Good call. Yeah, let us know.
Has been required.
That's right.
A couple times, actually, I think.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments down below, guys. Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea? I'd be intrigued to hear what you guys have to say on that. All right. Last but not least, guys, we're going to go ahead and get into our Master of Memes for today, everybody. Wow, that's the wrong screen. Master of Memes, guys. So, for those of you that don't know, we do a vote over on Twitch. This week's a little bit of an exception because of scheduling. We did this one on Discord. But regardless, we do a shout-out over on Twitch. We'll do that, obviously, the next stream that we have, guys. You get a specific role on Discord. You get a shout-out on Discord. You get a shout-out here on Rogue Actions as well for getting the win for Master of Memes. This week's Master of Memes, Ram, we have the following. Using Bane with C. Using Bane lead with a garbage Sith. Versus, I've learned to edit images by AI. For increasing the quality, right? For increasing the quality, right? Oh, Ram. I don't even need to ask. Which one do you like better, sir?
Oh, it's a Padme.
Uh-huh. Yep.
Yeah, don't even just go to the winner.
Yeah.
Just go.
Yeah, we don't even need to dwell on this one, guys. The winner is AI, baby. I mean, why wouldn't it be the AI? Let's be honest here. AI for the win, guys. Congrats. You know, I think I have to double check this. I actually forget who this is. Congrats to Russ Cooks, guys. I'm going to guess it's Russ Cooks. I'll edit that if I need to. On the win, everybody. Guys, let us know in the comments down below what you thought of this week's meme. If you think you have a better meme, get over to Discord, guys. Make sure you join the channel and drop your memes over in the Master of Memes channel, and we will get you added to the list as well. All right, last but not least, Ram. Any final parting words, sir, that you might have for us? Sage words of advice, perhaps.
I'm still speechless from.
You're just fixated on the AI art right now, aren't you?
Look, that's some really good art. Okay, it's some really good AI, and it leads me to believe that AI is firmly created by man, and definitely created by Elon Musk, because he knows exactly what we want.
Guys, if you like that AI art as much as you like today's video, make sure you guys like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any more of that. It's good stuff, guys. Last but not least, guys, we will see you next time on Rogue Actions. Bye, everybody.